Hi, this is Eric Smith. Time to do another quick look video. I thought I would do it from Numbers chapter 35, verse 12. And the Word of God reads this way: They shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation in judgment. In chapter 35 of Numbers, starting at verse 9, we have an account of the cities of refuge. These are cities that were set up for a particular reason for the nation of Israel. Now, when I know we think of God in the Old Testament, many times we think of God as this wrathful, judgmental God that just pronounces death sentences for any particular reason. There is a rhyme and reason why God has a death penalty, and we have to know that God is holy and righteous. But many times we'll just read sporadic verses, and it just seems like the Lord is just telling the nation of Israel to stone somebody over anything. That is not true at all. And in this particular verse, we see that God actually sets up fairly a situation when there is manslaughter involved. I want to read the verse again. It says, "They shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger." So what the Lord is saying is there's going to be cities of refuge set up for someone who accidentally murders someone. This is what we would call manslaughter today. These cities of refuge are some place that they can go and stay and be safe. And notice it says they will be, they're going to be safe, so to speak, from the avenger. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what is it talking about when it says the avenger? The avenger is a family member of the victim who would want to avenge the death of that family member. Whether it's an accident or not, or whether it's something that the murderer didn't intend to do, there's going to be a dynamic where that family member is going to want to have revenge. They're going to be able to go to the city of refuge to stay away from the avenger. The avenger would not be able to do anything to this person. That's why the next part of the verse says that the manslayer, and this is the person that committed the murder, the manslaughter, may not die, because if you kill someone, it is worthy of death. Genesis 9:6, Leviticus 24:17, both say the same thing. If you murder someone, you get the death penalty. So even if the person murdered someone accidentally, by the Levitical law, he should still be put to death. But manslaughter was a particular case where they had to do what? They had to judge it. That's why the rest of the verse says, until he stands before the congregation in judgment, because the congregation is going to judge this particular manslaughter. They're going to judge to see if this accidental death involved hostility or malice or not. If it was hostile and the person accidentally killed him, but he had an evil intent in his heart, and they can see that, then this manslaughter person, the person who committed it, would be handed over to the avenger. But if it was an accident and he didn't mean to do it and there was no malice in his heart, and they have evidence of that, he could go to the city of refuge. Dear Christian, the reason I'm bringing this up is because many times we may think that God is an unfair God. We see judgment and we don't think of holy, righteous justice. We just think, well, that's not fair. That's not fair that God should do that. But you know what? If we read further in the Old Testament, even in a theocracy, we will see a lot of situations where God is completely and totally fair to people that did something that they shouldn't have done. And we have to understand that God is a God of grace and mercy. In this particular situation, if the person committed manslaughter, God gave this person a way out, so to speak. He could go to the city of refuge and he could stay there. And the person that was after him, the avenger, couldn't kill him if he did this accidentally. Today we have laws for manslaughter. And you know what? Our laws don't always mirror the Old Testament laws, but this is where this comes from. So God is still a just God, even when someone murders someone, and this city of refuge is an example of God's fairness. So this is Numbers chapter 35, verse 12. I just wanted to do a quick look to kind of delve into certain things that we read in the Old Testament. Because people like to dive into the Old Testament to show how bad God is. But God is not bad. God is a good God. He's a just God, and he's a righteous God, even when it pertains to murder. And we have to understand that. If we don't understand that God is a just, fair, and also gracious and merciful God, we're going to have the wrong idea about God, even as Christians. And we certainly can't let the outside world, the unbelieving world, make us think bad things about God. We have to read the scriptures and see the justice and the goodness and the holiness and the righteousness of God, even in a situation that involves manslaughter. As always, if the videos on this channel have encouraged your Christian walk and edified you in any way whatsoever, but you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you want to, hit the button. If you want to leave any comments, please do so, but please don't be snarky. Please do not be profane. We want to be Christ-like in everything we say and do as Christians. And until we do another quick look, when we look at God in the Holy Scriptures, we can't separate the Old Testament God from the New Testament God. It's the same God. God is a God of love, grace, and mercy, but he's also a God of what? Wrath and justice. And we can see both in both Testaments. Let's not let people just pick out scriptures where it looks like God is doing something quote unquote bad and let them determine who God is by some unbelieving presupposition. We have to understand who God is based on what God reveals in the scriptures. And in this particular verse, it shows that God is completely and totally fair because God is a completely and totally fair God. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and God bless.